Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails. We are bringing back the Focus on Female series that John and I kicked off a couple years ago now. And I am so very excited to have Kelly Sekulovski with us. You run the Femme Fit Society, and I'm so excited to learn all about this organization and what your goals are and what you're doing to really shed more light on women in the CrossFit space, in the sports space, and kind of like continue those discussions that really need to happen just like they're
Yeah.
happening on this show. Welcome, Kelly.
Yeah, no, I'm super pumped. I've definitely been a fan and I've listened to you guys. And I'm stoked that you're bringing this back because I feel like this is just so important, especially like just in the whole space. Obviously, we'll get into like why it's so important. But yeah, no, I'm stoked that you wanted us to come on. So we're super excited.
Thank you. I'm stoked that it's coming back. Honestly, like it got a bunch of really great momentum and we were working really hard on it. And it was, to be honest, it was John's idea that he sort of like dropped into my lap and was like, you should really run with this. And then I had a kid. And
Yeah.
then like my like life basically stopped. It was bananas. So
Weird how all kids do that, right?
it's wild. It's wild. The first time mom thing totally. And you think you're like over a hump, like a couple months into it, you're like, I got this. And then like, I don't know, some like mystery illness slaps you in the face like 6 months or 8 months down the road. And you're like, actually, I need to take a step back from everything because I don't know how to parent anymore.
100%. Yeah, no. And that's like why my co-founder isn't on the call right now, Lindsay,
Right.
because yeah, case in point, her daughter just started school and she was like, I have a mystery ailment that I'm unsure of. So yeah, no, I have Lindsay, who is amazing. She's the founder of Girls Gone RX as well. So she does all the things and she's awesome. And I wish she was here, but I will be representing the both of us today. So
Perfect.
God help us all. Yes.
You're gonna do great. I have every confidence in you. So start at the beginning for people who have not heard of Femme Fit Society. What exactly is the organization? What are you guys doing?
Yeah. So basically, our goal is kind of just to make a place that's all inclusive for women in the fitness space. So, as far as content, we want to focus on basically those things that you would talk to your friends at the gym about, but like might not be finding out about on a regular media outlet. So, like, prime example, if I'm doing double unders and I'm peeing myself, how do I fix it? Those are the kind of things that we all think about. We all want to find out how to prevent, but not a lot of people are talking about things like that. And just those niche things that for women that are in the fitness space or that are very interested in fitness, they're able to find that content and be like, oh, yeah, like I can relate to that. And we kind of just wanted to make a space where it's safe to have those conversations. There's a place where women can kind of turn to for health and fitness specific information that's also related to like the CrossFit community, that's related to women that aren't afraid to lift weights. I know that that's kind of been a stigma forever, that women lifting heavy isn't always super common. And so we're trying to create an all inclusive. So no matter what kind of fitness realm you're into, you can look at our content. We do a newsletter that goes out every Monday. And then we also have our website that will upload blog content to. We've got some really cool people that we work with, that like pelvic floor specialists. We've got physiotherapists. We work with nutrition coaches. So we've got kind of a bank of content that we kind of say like, there's no topic that's off limits. And so we have just this place that's a hub that we just want to get really cool content, and we want to be able to share it with women, because Lindsay and I kind of like how it started. We looked at each other one day and we had met through the fitness space. We worked together with Girls Gone RX for a little bit. And we looked at each other and we were like, nobody's really doing this. Like we've seen like other media outlets come up in the space that have put out really good content that's been super helpful to kind of progress, obviously, the sport of CrossFit, but also like the community. And we just weren't really seeing that specifically centered around women. And obviously, like, not every guy wants to read a newsletter about their period on a regular media outlet. And
I can imagine why, but
I
like,
know,
okay,
right?
fine.
Stuff, guys, come on. But yeah, but it was just kind of a natural conversation where it was something that I had been thinking about for a while. Lindsay happened to bring it up to me, and I was like, whoa, like that was weird. I've been thinking about that too. And so, yeah, from there, we just kind of, I'd love to tell you we planned out a bunch of things, but we kind of just went for it, which I feel like
Yep.
is just how you launch something like this. But yeah, we've put out about, we're on I think like our 15th newsletter now. And the response from the community has been really cool. Like it's been awesome to put something out, think it's going to be something that hits with people, and then have people like DMing us or messaging me that are like, "Ooh, yeah, like this is awesome. This is like what I didn't know that I needed." So yeah, we've been really excited about it, and we've had some really positive responses. So that's why we're super stoked to be able to talk to you and kind of get more people in the know with this as an option. Um, but yeah, no, we're loving how it's going so far.
The one thing that really strikes me when you're talking about your entire initiative is this notion of safe space. Like not just a safe, not just a place for women, rather to talk about these topics, but a safe place for them, which
Yeah.
is really hard. You can't like 100% guarantee it all the time. But I'm finding that even with some of the content that other people are publishing or like Morning Chalk Up is publishing, for example, because to your point, they have like really great articles every so often that focus on some of these topics.
Yeah.
I am still finding just like a shitload of trolls in the comments being like, ew, periods. That was a terrible example. But you know what I'm saying?
But
Like people that
yeah,
come into the comments about really random shit that I'm like, how could you even turn this into a negative? I don't understand. Or like, sir, why are you here? This is not for you. So,
right?
and obviously you will never be able to like police the internet and trolls live everywhere. And I get that. But at least if it's like an opportunity to self-select yourself into this content. Like you don't have to sign up for a newsletter if you don't want to. You don't have to follow us if you're not into this very specific type of content. It at least creates a little bit more of that safety environment so that you could feel comfortable sharing your experience or saying like, yeah, I do want to hear about this, or maybe even offering up additional ideas for your content in the future.
Yeah, 100%. And I think too, like, there are certain things that it requires a safe space to talk about. Like, I know personally for myself, like, one of the coolest experiences that I've had through making content and being able to share my story, I have had two miscarriages in the past year. And so being able to have a safe space where I'm not worried about a troll on the internet telling me what I did and didn't do right with my
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy. I'm not worried about trying to sugarcoat anything. Like, I
Yeah.
want to talk about what's actually real. And I think, too, especially with like talking about postpartum depression and different things. Like, I know Morning Chalk Up did an amazing article with Annie Thorisdottir
Yeah.
a couple years ago about postpartum depression. And it's great to see those little blips in other media spaces where we can then like reference them. But at the same time, like, that's a blip versus the regular content, like you're kind of saying. So to have like a place where, yeah, if you don't want to read about this, cool, don't follow us, don't subscribe. That's awesome. But there's just so many people that I think could benefit from this space that it's like, you know what? If you're interested in this content, if you want to find other like minded women who want to know about these things too, like we want to create that space. And one of our big things when we were making like our mission statement, aka when we were working with AI to try to make our mission statement.
Fair.
God bless AI, but we really wanted to be inclusive and we wanted it to be like the same way we're saying all fitness levels. Like this isn't just something for elite athletes, this isn't just something for beginners. It's the same way that we said we wanted it to be all inclusive with our content. Like recently I wrote an article as someone who wants children, I wrote an article about how you don't have to want children. And we want to try to cover every different kind of demographic that women are experiencing because we want it to feel like a space for everybody. So if you can't relate to something, we want to try to find another way that we can really just loop everybody in and try to make it a space where, yeah, people want to read our newsletters. People want to have fun content, serious content. Like we're just kind of trying to hit a little bit of everything. And we're also trying to make it fun. Like we joke around, we like put up funny stories, funny Instagram posts. Like I'm a huge fan of making all the viral videos that have the little like movie clips on the bottom. Like, yeah.
Perfect.
I'm behind those just like cackling while I'm making them. And I'm like, most of the time I'm just laughing. So like maybe someone else will laugh.
I think that's the best way to create content. It's like, I don't know, I kind of like it. Maybe someone else will like it too.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden people keep sharing it. And I'm like, validation. This is the best.
It matters.
Yes. Yeah.
I think there's a real power in being able to share your story, whether it's a difficult time you've been through, like your miscarriages, or like a fun time or an accomplishment. Like I think creating a space where the content reflects really individualized stories can give people an enormous sense of power, not only in them being able to share their own stories and then have that, like you said, validated by the people who are reading it, but also by the people reading it who may or may not be comfortable or at the level yet where they can share their own, or may have felt isolated because of the thing that they have been through. And I just feel like creating like a peer network of folks who can talk about, of women specifically, who can talk about things that only apply to us.
It's an exclusive club, but it's an inclusive club.
Exactly. It just is really making something that I feel like has been lacking in our space. I mean, it's truly why I even started these episodes.
Yes.
When I did, is because, like you said, like there's a lot of content, there's a lot of wonderful people putting out awesome stuff, but there is a lack of, I don't know, just like stuff that can flex across the female experience specifically, which is a vast experience,
right?
In and of itself.
It's a wide one. And I feel like people kind of forget sometimes that fitness, while it's definitely evolving, is still such a male dominated space in like its messaging, in like its media. It, like you're saying, like there's something missing to that female aspect of things. You can't really put your finger on it, but it's just makes this a little bit refreshing to anyone who's seeing it, because like there aren't a ton of people doing things like this. And I think too, like to your point, like having people who are going through something that might not be ready to tell their story, to be able to read it. Like when I was writing about my experiences, like, I mean, I did a deep dive into just very dark times that I was in, and was very raw and vulnerable because that was what that piece lended to be. And I got probably 10 DMs from women who were like, I literally had a miscarriage yesterday and I needed to read this. And to me, like everything we do from now on is a bonus, because that was the only thing that I like, that made it all worth it to me. All of the time I put in, and even just like making myself kind of relive some traumatic experiences, because I honestly, part of the reason why Lindsay and I really wanted to start this. So I had my first miscarriage, and Lindsay and I were talking, and Lindsay said, I had a miscarriage too. And
oh, no way.
Yeah, I remember looking at her and being like, why didn't anyone tell us about this? Tell us about how much it sucks. Tell us what to expect after.
Yeah.
And it almost made me frustrated, because I was thinking, oh, all these other women out there are going through this, but nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's similar kind of feedback that I hear from friends of mine who have struggled with postpartum depression.
Oh, yeah.
Going through it, but who's talking about it, and who's talking about it publicly.
Right.
And that's been something that was a huge motivator for us. And even after we started FemFit, I was super nervous to share my story, because it's just so vulnerable and so raw and so personal. But to see how people reacted to it, it was almost like that encouragement that I need to then, okay, cool. We said nothing's going to be off the table with our content. Now, really, like nothing's off the table, because clearly this is what people are responding to. And so, yeah, it was almost encouragement for us to be able to, okay, this might not be the comfiest stuff to talk about, but things aren't always going to be comfy. Things aren't always going to be like, if we covered everything that's just positive all the time, like we're going to miss so much of what it is to be a woman. Like being a woman is a lot about sacrifice. I know we're going to delve a lot more into, and like you can obviously relate to this, like having a career and also being a mom, which is something that for some reason people like to talk about, how you can have it all, but it's so hard.
You really mean you can do it all. You should do all the things. That's what that means.
Just don't ever sleep and you can do it all. Yeah. Like, okay, cool. Easy.
Perfect. Got it. No.
And so, yeah, it's just like things like that where we just want it to be real. And that's, I think, like what me opening up a little bit more. And like Lindsay, the other day, she dropped her daughter off to school for the first time. She was like, I'm not crying, you're crying. And I was like, no, you need to write about this, because how many moms out there will read this and be like, oh my God, same. Like
I met one of my favorite mom friends the first day that I ever dropped my kid off at daycare. And I was a hot fucking mess in the parking lot, just like weeping openly, like ugly crying at my car.
In your seat.
Totally, 100%. Just like kind of like crouching down in my truck, like no one can see me. And she came up to me and she was just like, hey, do you want to like go get a coffee? And I was like, yeah.
She just like hands you a tissue.
She was like, I've been there. She was like, I've been there. My kid's been coming here for 6 months and it's great. Like, let's go talk. And our shared experiences go from miscarriage and postpartum depression to small moments of like, I fucking stubbed my toe this morning and my kid was crying and then he shit his pants and I had to get him in the car. And like, it's just like, it's crazy what kinds of things open up when one person is brave enough to share their story. And now people come out of the woodwork being like, oh, me too. Thank God it's not just me. And I feel like what is truly missing in our space is not necessarily even the content. Because to your point, like there's blips of it here and there. Like it's not like these stories are fully untold. They're just like, what I think is missing is a place of authority where they live. Our sport is so new, right? And I know that this is fitness in general, but coming at it through a CrossFit lens, like our sport is so new that we're still on the development path of the podcasts that really are the ones that you turn to, or the publications that are really the ones that you turn to. We don't have much, right? Like we have Morning Chalk Up that sort of like has been coming up through the very beginning. Yeah. And then, we have like one or two folks who are kind of like well known for numbers and stats and data and things like that. But I feel like all of us, myself included on this podcast, are still trying to come up and like be some of the names that you think of or that you turn to when you need a resource for a specific thing. And so what I do think is missing is that real sense of authority that like, no, you are the resource for women in the space. Like that I think is what you guys are striving to be in my mind, because of all the thought that you put into it and all of the notes on inclusivity and all of the different things that you're working toward. Like, that's what I would really like to see, is like less frustration that there's not a lot of info out there for us, because there's not. Like it blows. Like, no matter what stage of life you're going to, like if you're a woman and you're into fitness and you have questions, like there are too many answers and there's too much misinformation and there's
too much. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are too many fake Instagram happy people who aren't telling the stories of miscarriage or postpartum depression. When I had my kid, I had postpartum anxiety only. And no one really talks about that in a silo of itself and what it does to you.
Nobody even understands that there's other
things,
mental health related postpartum.
Yes. Yeah. And I went on a tirade. I think I went on like 2 or 3 different podcasts where I talked about like, I also had a traumatic birth, and people don't talk about how that goes down. And like, I was just so mad and frustrated that there weren't resources for me. And that the first thing my OB offered was like, well, do you want to get on a pill? And like, no shame in that game. If you need to get on any kind of pill, go for it. But I was like, really? Like, you don't want to even just like talk to me first? Or could I maybe get a therapist? Or like
between this? Yeah. Like
try acupuncture. Yeah. I don't know. Journaling. Like I tried everything, but there were no resources.
Yeah.
And I had to find that shit on my own. And so, couple that with like the barbell is my therapy. There weren't a lot of places to be like, here's a story where you can relate, and here's people who think like you, and here's whatever. So I do love what you're doing in that respect. And I hope that you can continue growing it, because I really think we need, as women in fitness, we need a hub that we can trust, where I can be like, I do have questions about miscarriage, whether it's happened to me or I'm worried that it's happening to me, or I just want to do all the research in the world. I just want to know, where do I go? Oh, you know what? At least I know I can go here, because there's real women sharing their stories. And I know you've got some stuff from experts, and you've got, when people need to step in and really be that voice of authority, that also is there. So that's important.
Yeah, for sure. And like, yeah, exactly like you said, like we want to be the place to go. And like, I think of you like trying to deal with postpartum anxiety. And wouldn't it have been so cool if you could have been like, you know what? Let me like go to this website, or let me like check out this newsletter that I get, because they seem like this would be something that they would cover. And yeah, like I think about if I had some of the resources that I'm like hoping to create, like it's almost one of those things where you're like, what did I need when I was this age? Like, what did I need in this phase of life that if I read this, would have benefited from it? And that's really just our goal, is to have a place and have a voice. And something that I also find super interesting that like I would love to dive into as well is being a competitive athlete and having aspirations to have a family. Like we see like Tia, I will say that Tia having a baby was such a great step forward for awareness of pregnancy, of like postpartum, like recovery. Like she did that track with pliability. That's like amazing. And I love that that's becoming more common. Like I hate to say like having a baby is trendy, because like shocker, people have been doing it forever, but it's at least giving a little bit more of a spotlight to it. But you watch these competitive women that are pushing their bodies, that are doing everything they can to perform in the sport. And then all of a sudden they have to turn it off to go have a family, to go have a baby. And some of these women, like I know Lauren Khalil talked to Kelsey Keel about freezing her eggs. Like things like that are things that women specifically in elite fitness need to think about. And who's talking to them about it? Like nobody is. And so that's the kind of things that I want even women who are elite athletes to be able to come to our website, our resources, our social media, be able to find like something for them. And it's something unique to women. Male athletes don't need to think about, oh, well, like you hate the term, my biological clock is ticking, but at the same time, men don't need to worry about it.
Not nearly as much, at least.
100%. But like, these are things that women that are in competitive athletics, like I'm sure have in the back of their mind. And it's, like I wouldn't know where to turn to for resources like that. And that's one of the things that we're just trying to put content out there for everybody that will be something that, anyone can really relate to. And I love that mom stopped you and actually chit-chatted with you. I'm like circling way back, but how many times have we seen someone like low-key crying that you're like, oh, I'm sure they'll be fine. But she was like, no, not today. Today I'm going to block off my day to take that girl. Like that mom needs to come to the Femme Fit Society.
She does.
I love her vibe. Yeah.
And to this day, that was over a year ago. And to this day, we're real close. Our kids were born the same week. And so we're, we still text and about every new stage of glorious toddlerhood.
Well, I'll just be like, on the same path.
And I'll just be like texting her like, hey, is your kid an asshole this week? Because
mine is
that's where we're at.
Exactly.
And she's like, we are refusing naps and bedtime. I'm like, cool. Same.
Yeah. And like something too that we try to like kind of like, it's something that's huge with our mission. Women supporting other women.
Yes, like, please. More all the time. Please.
God. Like it's just, I'm just so tired of seeing, like you were talking about earlier, like trolls on Instagram and seeing a post about a woman and seeing a troll that's another woman tearing someone down. Like it's just, especially in like a space where we're the minority, why in the F are we not building each other up? Like, we got enough
Yeah.
stuff to worry about here. Like, we like, I'm never anti-man, but I'm pro-woman because
Same.
we've
Yep.
got a lot of shit to deal with. Like, we've got a lot going on and we've got a lot of unique niche problems to ourselves that unfortunately a lot of times men don't really have to deal with. So I want to create a space where like we're sharing, like I do a section where it's like Femme Fit community and I just share things I see that are cool. Like if you have a webinar about uh, building your pelvic floor, if you've got something about like postpartum, if you've got something about like just general women's health, like I want to share it. And something that we're trying to do to help us A, get content, but B, be able to give people kind of a platform to share their content. We're doing basically a page on our website that says like submit content. And
Great.
yeah, I honestly think it's going to be really cool because you don't have to be like some writer who's gone to journalism school to include content with us. Like we want it to be cool. You have this awesome story. We want to share it and we want to be able to give people, especially like female owned business, female
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs, like women that are pioneering something in whatever industry they're in. Like we want to give them a space to be able to get their message out to more people.
You know what I would love to hear, who I would love to hear from, and I would like to do this on this show as well too. So if
Yeah.
you're listening to this and if you are one of these women or you have an idea of who some of these women are, please slide into my DMs because I'd love to organize some more shows and maybe contact Kelly and see if you can write some content. I would love to hear from women in male dominated industries who rely on or use fitness in some way, shape, or form in their lives and their jobs. Like where fitness is important to you for what you do, but you are working in law enforcement or you are in the military or you are, I've never seen a lady garbage truck driver.
I've only
They
seen
gotta
that on
pick up
Parks and
all
Rec.
sorts of big, heavy, right? Yeah, they gotta pick up all sorts of heavy trash cans. Like a correctional officer, like I want to hear from women who are working in these spaces, who are the only chicks in their shift,
Yeah.
and they need to stay healthy and active to keep on keeping on for their work. Like that is so interesting to me, and it's something I don't have any experience in. And I bet that they're living like very interesting, sometimes badass and awesome, sometimes really
Right.
fucking hard
Oh, yeah.
experiences.
Yeah, my husband is actually a police officer, and so I hear about some of the women he works with and some of the stuff he deals with. And
Uh,
I'm like, man, like, you are out there, and especially as a woman, like to have to establish that authority. And I've met some of his coworkers. They make
that's
me look
tough.
massive, and I'm only 5'5". So yeah, it's definitely something that in a career where you have to prioritize your fitness but you're also in that like male dominated space, like how do you handle that? And I
Yeah,
think
I would love to know. And how do you I don't even know, like assert yourself? Like I think of like
yeah.
sometimes those situations just like it's hard to be heard even.
And
And
if you
people
are
don't always take you
too
seriously.
100%, and like
Yeah.
this is the line that you tell, if you're too assertive you're a bitch, if
You're a
you're
bitch,
not
yeah.
assertive enough you're a pushover. And it's
Right.
like kind of like finding that fine line. And I mean, I like to say like I'm not a bitch, I'm just bossy. But like at the same time though, like that double standard sucks because like
Yeah.
think about like a woman who's in law enforcement. Yeah, she's got to be bossy. Like get over it. Like she's a
Hell
cop.
yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
even find
no.
it sometimes and rarely these days, but I've been coaching CrossFit for a very long time. And I've
Mhm.
found that even there's always a member here or there who like listens to a male coach more than they listen to a female coach. And it's like towing that line of like, I told you to go lighter on your barbell and now you're not listening. So now I'm gonna strip the weight off for you. And
Right?
if you want to bitch about it and have a fit, then you can leave my class. But that would never happen if you had a male coach at the head of this class.
No.
So it's even little situations like that, it is really difficult to find that balance and toe that line. So I'm just saying out loud, I want women like that on this show. Kelly wants women like that to
We're
submit pieces.
manifesting.
I want to
Yeah.
hear it. I want to hear it all.
You know what's funny is that I actually wrote about Jeffrey Adler's coach Carolyn.
I always call her Carolyn.
Okay, because
I
they're
could be
French,
totally
so
wrong.
I'm like, I read it as Caroline, but some people have said Carolyn. My best friend's name is Carolyn too, so she's gonna yell at me. But anyway, so I wrote about, this is the first time that we've seen a man on top of the podium with a female coach, and the fact also, obviously, Michelle Letendre is Patrick Vellner's coach, and then he's obviously consistently come in on the podium, and Carolyn actually shared it and was saying like how, these men give her an opportunity to prove other people wrong. And it's funny because Michelle actually shared it as well and said, I used to have a man in my class who never really took me seriously until he found out I went to the CrossFit Games. And I know she was on Talking Elite Fitness recently and was chatting a little bit more about this in depth, but she said on Talking Elite Fitness that somebody commented and was like, oh, good. All I have to do is win the CrossFit Games for a man to take me seriously, like, or compete at the CrossFit Games. Like, what is why would you expect that from a woman? But then your male coach just walks in one day and immediately garners your respect. And
it's weird.
It's very weird. And I was like, I'm a coach as well. And, I never want to emasculate men. I never want them to feel like I'm out to get them. But at the same time, like, bro, if the weight's too heavy, the weight's too heavy. Like, I'm not going to let you do this with dog shit form and watch it and cringe the whole time. The same way I wouldn't let any of the girls in my class do that. But the girls would also not have an ego enough to try to do that. So
usually that's true.
Right? Shocker.
Yeah, no, it is wild. And I had Carolyn on this show a million years ago. It was right after they had gotten engaged, because I remember that was like the topic of discussion. I was like, oh shit, you're going to get married.
Yeah.
To the guy that you're coaching, which is wild.
Interesting dynamic always. Yeah.
It's super interesting dynamic. And I just remember, I just feel like in my interview, in the recent interviews, like the topic is kind of always like, wow, you're one of the only female coaches. How is this happening? And I'm really excited for the days when that conversation is in the rear view. Totally. Now, I'm also, in the same vein of like, wow, you're an elite athlete, but you also have a family. Like, I won't want that to be a wow anymore. I want it to be like
normal,
normal, or like, hey, the difficulties, like it's common. The difficulties of having a newborn, they affect everyone. Like, and I remember talking to Pat Vellner when his kid was first born, being like, how the fuck do you train when you're not sleeping? Like, that is true across the board for everyone. It's just, it's so very much an anomaly right now that it almost makes me wonder, like, how much do we focus on like Ariel Owen's a perfect example. Like, how much do we focus on she's the third fittest woman on earth versus fittest mom on the planet, right? Because it's such a big part of her, but I don't think it should define her.
I totally get what you're saying, that like acknowledging it and like focusing on it is almost like, why do we have to focus on this? And I think that
it's tough because I also want to be like, because it's a big fucking deal. That's why, because it's a huge deal.
You don't even get how hard this is. But at the same time, like, I don't want to draw attention to it, because then it's like, well, she's an athlete, like every male athlete is too. Like,
right.
Yeah.
It's the double standards are everywhere. They are.
And it's like, it's every like woman who's been asked, like, how do you balance your career and having a family? And like, what man are you asking that question to? He'd be like, I wake up in the morning and I go about my day. Like, what is this question? But it's just a natural kind of thing. Like, honestly, it's so funny because like the questions as a woman that people think are acceptable to ask you, my husband's horrified. My husband's horrified when people ask me some of these questions. It's literally
like what? What have you heard?
Okay, so prime example. We've been married in November, will be 4 years.
Nice.
If we did not like at least mention we were trying or anything, like we were 3 months into our marriage and people were asking me, when are you gonna have a baby? I was like, guys, like, I'm still hungover from the wedding reception.
Yeah.
Like, can we just like give this a minute? Like, okay. And then it just like random people would ask me that. It's like when someone asks you when you get engaged, like that day, they're like, so when's the wedding? And you're like, I don't know. I just got this on my finger. Like I didn't have time to like go tour these venues yet. Like
Right.
back
Right.
off.
And like, was anyone asking your husband when are
No,
you guys gonna
absolutely
have
not.
kids? No.
Absolutely.
That is the weirdest thing to me because it's basically adults being like, so are you guys like boning? And I'm
It's
like,
so weird.
can you not get into my business like that, please?
And if it's like your family and you're like, no, great Aunt Susan, we're not
different.
owning. Like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
it's funny questions like that. Or like people be like, oh, like you're getting older, like time to think about starting a family. I'm like, go tell my husband that who's older than me. Oh, wait, like doesn't matter. Like,
Right. Right.
it's yeah, I will say too, like on a more serious note, the things that people find acceptable to say to a woman who has just lost a baby is
Oh no.
horrifying. Horrifying.
Does that come from like their discomfort in not knowing how to approach you in that situation, do you think?
I hope so. I think that a lot of times, especially, and this is like any sort of scenario where you don't really know what to say. So you say what you think would make you feel better.
Okay.
But sometimes like, and I had a friend who had a miscarriage before I ever did. I didn't know much of what to say, except I said like, hey, I'm here for you if you need anything. I love you.
Totally.
That's it. So when it happened to me and I had people telling me everything happens for a reason.
No.
And I was
No.
literally like, and I'm a morbid person. Like, so right after I had my first miscarriage, I decided that I was going to go to a therapist because I was like, you know what? I am taking care of my mental health. This is clearly something traumatic I went through. My
That's a
husband
great
and
call.
I, yeah, like I was trying to be proactive. My husband and I found this woman through his insurance. We did a joint session. Cool. So I'm like a very, like I said, practical, like to the point person. So this
Therapists
woman,
should be able to read that for what it's worth.
yeah,
It's part
yeah,
of their job.
exactly, right?
Yep,
Like,
yep,
yeah.
yep, yep.
So this woman started talking to me about my baby's energy and my baby's spirit and
Okay.
asked me if I could feel my baby's spirit still with me. And my husband was next to me like this because he knew that like something was coming because he
Okay.
was like, you've said this to the wrong person.
Yeah.
And I just went like this. I went, no, my baby's dead. And she looked so uncomfortable. And I was like, you are the therapist here. I've made
Yeah.
you uncomfortable because you are asking me some bizarre question about my spirituality when I am just here to like tick this box off that I have done my homework and that I am taking care of my mental health.
Yeah, that
And
doesn't feel like a first session kind of a question. You
right?
gotta feel out this person and like, are you even a spiritual person to begin with? Because that could be a very comforting kind of line of questioning for someone who does, in
100%.
fact, like align with those values. But if you don't, and someone's just like, hey, I have some voodoo questions for you,
Right? Like, hey, I know
that's
you're
not gonna
breathing,
track
but
on.
like,
Yeah. On meeting one, that's not that's not where
yeah,
you should be. I assume
yeah.
you switched therapists.
Oh yeah. She was
Yeah,
like, let's book our next session. And my husband was like, yeah, bet. And like hung up. And I was like, never again. But
exit Zoom meetup.
right? Literally. And I was like, thank God we weren't in person because I'd have just been like, at least you could like hit end on a Zoom call. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh. But
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. And I also like with her, I was on anxiety medication while I was pregnant. I'm on a low dosage. Like it's something that I've taken for a very long time. And it's just, I've done the whole song and dance where I've talked to therapists. I've tried to work through it without medication. And like you said, like medication is there for a reason. If
Hell
it's
yeah.
helpful, if it wasn't harmful to my baby, I was going to continue to take it.
Yeah.
And she brought up during my session how my medication might have been part of the cause.
No.
Or yeah. And like, if
The
you
therapist?
yes.
The non-medical professional.
Yes.
Got it. Cool. Just making sure.
Spiritual, the one who felt my baby floating around her.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like kind of still in shock. So I didn't really like process what she was saying, process the implication. And I thought about it after. And like, you could do some serious like damage.
Yes.
And it really made me hesitant to talk to a therapist, like even after it happened the second time. And yeah, I hate that you like have one experience, but like when you're in that moment of trauma, like it's the things you say to people, the things that people say to you, like it can just have a big toll. Like I can vividly remember someone close to me telling me that they thought this was a sign that I should be focusing on my career.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Like
hard left turn.
Hard left. And but like these are the things that when I talk to my husband about them, he'll be like, "No way they said that." And I'm like, "Yeah." Like,
yeah, because no one's out there talking shit to him like that.
Right?
They're just not.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, nobody's implying that like, oh, you lost a baby. Like it might be your fault. And
Right.
it's horrible, but that is something that like I remember everyone's told me, don't blame yourself. And I was like, I'm not, clearly.
No.
And then
don't even imply that that's an option.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, should I be blaming myself? Maybe I do blame myself. Like, well, okay, what did I do? And as someone who also did CrossFit throughout my pregnancy at the beginning, did lift heavy, like to other people, like I had people telling me, like, stop doing that. That's like,
for God's sake.
And then I was like, what did I do? Did I? And like, I talk about that a little bit in the article that I wrote. And like, side note for anyone out there that like is going through this, read my article because you're going to be like, okay, cool. Like, it's not just me. Like, any little crazy thought that you're like, ooh, I've gone through this in my head and I know it's a little bit insane, but someone else is thinking it. But
that's exactly what I was going to say. It's truly, so I had a chemical pregnancy earlier this year, which if you're unfamiliar with what that is just a very, very, very like very early miscarriage. And it had me questioning, and I know about all this shit. Like I have been researching babies and things that can go wrong, whatever, since way before I even got pregnant 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And until I lived it, I could not have expected the thoughts and questions that creeped into my mind. So it's very nice to know you're not alone. And what I love the most about you sharing a story like yours via Femme Fit Society is the ripple effects outside of just understanding the thing that you went through, but like understanding, you said it was a perfect example of like, it made me maybe not want to see a therapist again. Like that is such a ripple effect. Like, yes, I want to understand what happened to you, body, mind, and soul when you were dealing with your miscarriage. But then like all the things that kind of like come out of that are things that we're not talking about as a society. And it is also related. And those ripple effects are really important to continue to document and to continue to talk about so that other women can be like, yes, my first therapist also sucked and I never saw another one, but I really should. And, you know, it totally made me not want to call someone again. And that's some bullshit because you're going to go through a lot in your life that you need support and you need hopefully someone who's more professionally trained than that, but like professionally trained people. Because when you find a good therapist, I found one postpartum when I was dealing with my anxiety and I still see her to this day once a month. And she's like, wonderful and supportive and she gets it from every level. And I'm like, I know you're really just like a postpartum lady, but can I see you forever, please?
You're like, no, we're friends now. You are.
Yeah. Like you're stuck with me. I'm just going to have to keep having kids like for the rest of my life so that I can keep talking to you.
10 kids. You're just going to be like, I'm going to be like having them if you want to cut me off.
In my 50s, pregnant. And she's like, Niki, maybe we should. And I'm like, no, still pregnant. I'm going to have to keep talking to you.
I'm doing this for you.
But that's like That's like a huge part of it, or the shit that people say to you, or the whatever. And so many of these experiences kind of can be related across scenarios, like
Yeah.
across grieving type scenarios, no matter what you've been through, across traumatic experiences, no matter what you've been through. So it's just, man, it's nice to know you're not alone. Because when you're feeling your craziest, you are actually at a point where you are the most common, because
Right.
everyone else going through those experiences is feeling the same thing.
And it's so hard to like, yeah, like you have your safe spaces, you have your husband, you have your boyfriend, whoever, your significant other. But if they're not going through the exact same thing you
Mm-hmm.
are, like even like you going through a chemical pregnancy, like that's a unique scenario that if you don't know anyone who's been through that, who do you talk to about it? Because like your friends who haven't experienced that, it's really hard for them to be like, yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
was really hard for my OB to answer my questions about, I bled for like 2.5 weeks. And I was like, is that normal? Because the internet tells me like 17 different things on 17 different websites.
Oh God,
And
yeah.
I'm bleeding worse when I work out.
Yeah.
So what do I do? And it was like, I had like 15 messages back and forth with my nurse OB in the portal,
The
where she was
portal.
like, well, no, you don't have to stop working out. We never really tell people to stop working out, but maybe just dial back the intensity. And I was like,
Am I dying? Like,
what?
what's happening to me?
What also, what does that mean? Like
Yeah.
my intensity, your intensity, generic intensity? I've been doing CrossFit for 12 years. I don't have a throttle. I
Yeah.
don't. And I had the same problem when I was pregnant, when people were like, your body will downregulate itself. I'm like, nah, bitch. For over a decade, I've been telling my body to shut down its regulation. Like when the alarm bells go off, I have trained my brain
You're
to
like,
be
I'm
like, just
pushing
keep going. You're
through.
fine. You're fine. So it just didn't make any sense. And I was like, well, can I lift? Can I run? Can I do this? And she was like, I mean, you can be active.
And you're like, you don't understand.
I'm like, this is
Like,
not helpful.
no. And it it's always the doctors that like don't really understand what
Yeah.
all CrossFit entails. Like, I will say, like, I go to a doctor who is a fit person
Oh,
who
it's awesome.
it it was like a prerequisite I did not know I had until I found them. And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because
I wish that, and we've heard a lot of promises from like CrossFit Health, right? That they're going to build this like network of people,
yes.
or I know John's doctor and training partner slash also co-owner of the gym works for Wild Health. And that's also like an
Yeah.
organization that's kind of like has a network of people. I just want that stuff to be more widely known and available and accessible, because I would switch OBs tomorrow if there was somebody in my area. If there's anybody in Rhode Island who is a CrossFitting OB, please
Yes.
reach out to me.
Find us. Find us.
CrossFitting OBs are a thing. When I was 38 weeks pregnant and worked at games, which was a wild experience,
Yeah.
I had OBs slipping into my DMs, and I would ask so many questions that week. I even met one when I was out there, and I was like, do I look like I'm dropping? Is this okay?
Yeah.
Are we okay? And she was like, I
You're
got
like,
you.
Tim
You're
alive
fine.
in 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Literally, that's kind of how that whole year went down. It was terrifying, but
Yeah, I think
awesome.
it's just like somebody gets it. Like, and also like somebody gets the pressure you're putting on your body. Somebody gets the actual workouts. Like, yeah, like how do I dial back my intensity when like literally my goal is to like be as intense as possible? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah,
And
for someone
do
who's
I
doing
need
high
to?
bow, it's
Do I
different.
even, yeah, like it just, and we've got some people in the space that are starting to really make breakthroughs. Christina Previtt is one person that I can think
Yes.
of, and everyone else who works with Ice Physio too. Like, and she's actually going to be on the show next week.
Oh,
I would
nice.
have her on I would do like 15 shows with her, and everyone should go and listen to her podcast too, because that's basically what she does, is her own show. But
Yeah.
she's just an authority in so many different spaces, from like how intense and how heavy can I lift, and how much can I work out, to like what is my pelvic floor doing, to like can I keep working out as I get into premenopause and menopause. Like there are so many things that are very specific to us. Is she writing for you? She should also write for you.
I was gonna say I may have sent her a message. So
Good.
Yeah.
But there are a few people really starting to make strides in our space. And the more we can turn to, publications like yours, Kelly, for just the conglomerate of all the things that we want to know about, the more we just continue to get the word out about these really important topics that either are new or have been quiet or have been just weird to pull all into one place together. And that
Yeah.
is a really beautiful, wonderful thing that you guys are
Yeah.
doing.
And to like have the permission for it not to be like, oh, you guys keep writing about these like women specific, like, okay,
That probably
cool.
does happen. Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, we do. Like, it's called Femme Fit Society. Like, you can, yeah, it's implied that it is going to be about females in fitness. And yeah, that's the ultimate goal. I want it to have one place to live. I want it to be actual trained professionals in their different areas, because I don't love that a lot of women get their nutrition and fitness tips from influencers who
Yeah.
are encouraging them to buy products or to do exercises that, like, I laugh when I see things that are like how to not get a big neck while you're lifting, because no woman wants a big neck. Meanwhile, I'm out here like, I want my traps to be as big as possible so that
Hell
like
yeah.
my sports bra cuts into them and it looks cool, but it's still out there. And like, I think we get almost like in our bubble, because I'm surrounded by women who are into fitness. I'm surrounded by women who like to lift weights, that I see that and I'm like, oh, that's like the small minority. But no, that's just my algorithm on Instagram because they know I
Right.
want to lift weights. Like, that is what a lot of women are seeing out there and taking it as law. And that's where they're getting their dieting advice, which I even hate the word dieting. We don't even call it dieting at all on FemFit. We call it nutrition because that's what it is. It's, you don't need to be on a diet, but side tangent. But like, it's just, I think as a woman in the fitness space, I forget that so many women are turning to these people to get
Mhm.
advice about health and fitness, and like think that that's healthy and what they're supposed to be doing. And yeah, I want to be able to champion more people who are giving the healthy alternatives and giving them actual information. Like, I see some of our most clicked on articles are about nutrition, are about
Mhm.
like ways to actually cut weight, realistic expectations for if you want to lose weight. And it's obviously not all going to be about losing weight, because I think that that shouldn't always be the focus, but to be able to know that we're giving information that's going to be healthy and it's going to be an actual professional that is telling you this information. Like, I definitely love that we can get all of these professionals in one place and each of them can talk about their different niche and be able
Yeah.
to like, okay, cool. You want to find some information out, you know that this person knows what they're talking about. And
Yeah.
like you said, yeah, like, where do I find information? Google is a vast world that I'm scared to touch sometimes, because if you
Yeah.
Google what you're going through or your symptoms for anything, it tells you that you're minutes away from dying. So it's
100%.
yeah. So like, it's the same thing with nutrition. Like, what's a good diet? You would find keto, you would find paleo, you would find carbs are good, carbs are bad. Like, so to have something that is other women who understand women's hormones, who
Mhm.
understand we're not like men. We're going to smell chocolate and gain 5 pounds versus men who will drink one less soda a week and drop 20 pounds. Like,
Yeah.
it's specific for women. And it's also people who are trained who know what they're talking about. And I think
Well,
like, go ahead.
who can talk about like sustainable plans too? Because
Yes.
the crash diet or the like, maybe just don't eat for 2 weeks and your body will eat your ass. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't.
Dude, I'm going to tell you what, I have tried every crash diet
Of
imaginable.
course. We
Like,
all have. Yeah.
yeah, like
We all have.
Nutrisystem. Oh, I had Nutrisystem. I used to fall
Amazing.
asleep at 5 PM every day because my body was shutting down.
Of course.
And it was like, I was like, wow, I'm just really sleeping a lot. And then I realized like, it's because you're quite literally starving. Like,
Yes, yes. I think that, and we could do a whole nother friggin' hour on this, but
yeah,
like the toxicity that lives around the like for exercises to lose belly fat or like the diet, the last diet you'll need because you'll be skinny. Like the reason why those things have such a horrific grasp on us, whether we want them to or not, is because like societally we've been driven there since we were little girls. Like
yes.
no matter what we're smart, we are well educated, and we live well within this community of strong, fit females, right? But no matter what, and I said this to my husband the other day, we were talking about it because he was complimenting a lift. A lift.
You're like, shameless plug.
I was like, I had a great lift. And he was like, I'm so glad that you honor being strong and fit. Yeah. And I'm like, I would be lying if I did not tell you that in the back of my mind, no matter how smart I am or educated I am, no matter how long I've been in this field, I still just want to be skinny. Yeah. And he was like, no, you don't. You would never want to look like one of those models in Hollywood or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And I would be lying if I said that I didn't. And I have to fight that thought and that feeling every single day when I eat what I need to fuel my body and when I go and I grow my muscles at the gym. Like, it is a learned practice that I have to force my brain into on a daily basis, because it's just like a really old habit or an old thought that won't die. And when you like, it's better to be thin than thick. Like, it's just, 100%. You can't be raised in this world where we live today and not have that ingrained in you somewhere so deep that you can't shake it, or that it's hard to shake, no matter how long you know the opposite. So I think that's why that stuff, those influencers and those crash diets and fad diets and Nutrisystems, I think that's why they have such a grasp on us, is because even when we're smart and we've educated our way out of that thought process, it's still buried in there deep somewhere, where, like, if I had the 3 wishes from a magic genie and one was like, you'll never gain weight again, I'd be like, that's the one. I start and end with that one. Yeah. Done. Like, so many more important things in this world. And I'm very happy with who I am and what I look like. And I want my therapist for life. Yeah, I want to be skinny and strong. I want a therapist for life, eat chocolate without gaining weight. And that's like so dumb, because there's so many more wonderful, valuable things in life. But I'm just being very blatantly honest about myself and how my brain works. Like, you can't shake that shit. You just can't. Like, you have to actively fight it. I drink, but I imagine that if I didn't drink, that would be like the alcoholics. Like, I have to actively fight wanting a drink every day. I have to actively tell myself that that is not the end goal. That's not actually what you want. That's not what's good for you or healthy for you or anything, because it's just really fucking hard. And I just feel like your community of women would get that.
That's right, girl. You're just being real. I mean, and it's funny because we just put out an article that was like, if you don't like the ideas and beliefs that women have today, don't teach them to the girls of tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah, I won't take credit for it. Emily Steele, she's amazing. She wrote it. And it's literally just saying, like, a whole article about the only thing sadder than like you and I that are like, oh man, like I PR'd my back squat, but like I see like the cellulite on the back of my neck in that video that like didn't love, but it's a 15-year-old girl about to go to school for the first time, or just about to go to a new school and thinking like, oh, I'm not skinny enough for boys to like me. Or like, she even talked about like a girl going to get her first kiss and leaning forward thinking like, ooh, like my stomach rolls are showing. Like stupid stuff that we've all thought, but like it's creating that safety for the next generation. Like, we were all exposed to that growing up. And that's why, like, internally, like, no matter how much we tell ourselves, sometimes we're like, man, I just like want to like look good in clothes. Like, it's fit bodies don't often. And obviously, like, people are making strides too. Like, I got me a pair of Born Primitive jeans that are built for big old legs. I'm gonna tell you what.
Right. Yeah. That's right. And Matt has their jorts because he also has big old legs, and they're awesome.
Stop. My husband literally loves those jorts. I had to buy them in 3 colors. He tries to
more than one color. Oh my God, Matt's gonna freak out.
Well, they've got khaki. They've got yes. And it's funny because he tries to wear them like they're like normal shorts. And so we walk out and I'll be like dressed in a nice dress and he'll just walk out in his jorts. And I'm like, you know what, baby, you do you.
It's fine.
That's fine. But like, I always was like, I want to like put on clothes and feel good. But instead, if you're fit and if you're bigger, like me and Lauren Khalil joke about this, about how like jean jackets, like we're literally like this, like reaching into the back seat. Like, I have to get all the stretchy material. And it's hard because like that's one of those just things where it's this mold, and if you don't fit in it, you're not going to look the way that these people in the pictures do and these models. But like, I know that as a society, we've kind of started featuring some more fuller figure models on like different advertisements and campaigns. And I'm thinking now about the girls that are growing up, that that's normal versus like us. We're like, oh, wow, they're finally featuring like full figure models and women that look normal. And that's what they get to grow up with. And I'm like, that's such a cool stride for the future. Like, it's not like, oh, I saw this skinny woman wearing this and I bought it and I looked like shit. It's like, oh, I looked like the model because the model looked like a normal human being who has eaten more than a piece of kale today.
Yeah. Or the designer has found a way to make this fit lots of different bodies. Some women are really thin, great. Some women are not great. Some women are curvy, strong, like insert whatever here. Like, can brands just figure out different sizing opportunities so that we can all just like look all right, be all right, comfortable? Like,
we all just need that born primitive jort material.
That's all we need. Everything is made of jorts from now on. Literally everything 24/7.
Denim on denim all day. Yeah,
exactly. I'm here for it. I totally am.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, it's cool to try to think about the next generation and hope that they don't turn to all the crazy fads and like just be able to educate them. And that's a huge focus of ours, is wanting to be able to also influence like moms who have young kids, who have young girls, like, hey, diet culture, this might have been what you grew up with, but don't make that what your daughter grows up with. Like, set that healthy boundary. And I have so many friends who are great at doing this, that are talking to their daughters, that will say, like, instead of say, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty, you're so smart, you're so like compassionate, you're so nice, you're so kind, and be able to show them this isn't all just about what you look like. This is also about who you are as a person, who you are on the inside, and being able to kind of change that narrative that unfortunately for a lot of us we have, where our value is put in our looks. No, your value is who you are as a person. Like, I put up a video the other day on Femme Fit, and if anyone wants to take a look at it, I pointed out like one of my most sensitive areas of my body. I'll point it out here again. I'm not wearing a tank top, but like, you know, like the armpit fat area.
Oh my God, yes. Friggin' side boob.
Yeah.
Like side areas.
Yes. Literally like right here.
I have it, like I'm the queen of it.
Yes. Yeah. I like shared a story about how I was shopping for my wedding dress, and I was so self-conscious about it that like I tried on my dream dress. My friends are all like crying. And I literally was just like, no, look at it. And everyone was like, what are you even talking about? Like, you look gorgeous. Like, this is like the dress. And I was literally like, nope, absolutely not. Won't get it. Look, that's all I'll see in pictures. So I had to have it like altered. I had a friend stand behind me, pull it up so that I could see what it looked like if it covered it. And I just like think back on that. And I'm like, the day of my wedding, the last freaking thing on my mind was like my armpit fat. But yet, like, that's the kind of things that we start to think about. And it's like, I want to have like my daughters someday, like, be able to think about how great they are versus pick out all of their little flaws. And even that, like, shit, like, that's not a flaw. Like, I lift weights, like, I have like muscle, like, it's just we're sometimes our own harshest critics. And I think
totally
giving people a platform to read about all the positive things and like find the positive things. You don't need to look in the mirror and think like, oh, this is what I don't like about myself. Let's focus on like what you do like about yourself. Let's try to flip that script a little bit.
Yeah. Can I give you one kind of tangential side note, but still related? The one of my biggest pet peeves is my son, who's 2. He has like gorgeous, bright blue eyes. Like, really, really captivating.
I feel like you have captivating blue eyes.
Oh my God, thank you. My eyes are very greenish, hazelish. My dad has blue eyes, and he definitely got them from my dad.
Now I'm like looking at your eyes like so intensely. They kind of like
real close to
wall.
Yeah. No, he's blue. I'm hazel and my husband is green, but he has
Mhm.
these like crystal clear blue eyes. They're really captivating.
Yeah.
And strangers all the time are like, to me, are like, oh, he's gonna be such a heartbreaker. And I'm like, ew, I fucking hope not. Like, I hope my kid doesn't grow up to be an asshole breaking hearts left and right.
Right?
Like, no. And Matt one time said it to someone because he was like fed up. He was like, no, he won't. He's going to be respectful and he's going to like treat people with kindness. He's not going to break hearts left and right. Like, what the fuck?
Right?
Like, it's just so weird. Just it makes me think of like the way you said, like, we grew up with diet culture. We grew up with heartbreakers being cool or badass. I don't know
Yeah.
what, but just like,
Yeah.
I do hope that we can break some of those cycles with the next generation of kids, whether they're your own or your nieces or nephews, or you volunteer at a group, like instill some shit that we didn't have that you wish we did, because the time is now to like
Right?
change that mentality across the board.
Yeah.
Truly.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being respectful of women is cool. That's what we
That's what Matt said. He was like, where are people coming up with this? Like, I'm not going to raise my kid to break hearts and be a douche. Like, that's not where I'm
Right?
at.
Your kid's gonna be a
Anyway.
douchebag someday. That's
Yeah,
like
that's basically what it means. And like, or it's like he's gonna be so hot that he's just gonna like, I don't know, pick up relationships left and right and have zero regard for the people here. I don't know. It's
how
just,
creepy is it that they're like, your kid's gonna be so hot? Like,
it's so, or when he like smiles at people and they're like, oh, he's such a flirt. I'm like, ew, he's
he fucking
cute.
smiled at you. Like he's
Stop.
just a child that's
Yeah,
happy.
it's
Like what?
weird. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
This makes me happy.
Yeah, it's bizarre the shit that people say to you.
Yeah.
Like we already talked about that. It is very bizarre that people think that they can come up with whatever. Anyway, I digress. And tell the listeners and the folks watching on YouTube where they can find you, how they can sign up for the newsletter, like all of that good stuff.
Yeah. So you can find us on Instagram at Femme Fit Society, our website, simple femmefitsociety.com. We've got links on the website where you can subscribe to the newsletter, but you can also go to our social media, click the link in our bio, and you can subscribe there. And the newsletter comes out every Monday morning. And yeah, hopefully eventually we'll be able to send out more than one a week. But right now we've got every Monday. We always say get a dose of baddie energy in your inbox every Monday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to feel like a baddie on a Monday morning? So yeah.
It's the last thing I feel like on a Monday morning. I feel like a coffee. I feel like
I feel like I'm like drinking my coffee, like trying to convince myself I'm a baddie. And then like
Yeah.
once it like sinks in, then I'm like, okay, cool. Like I got this. But
sweet.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so appreciative of the work that you and Lindsay are doing. And I think that I want to help grow this community and get more people involved. And if you're hearing this and you have a story to share, like Femme Fit Society is a great place for you to submit your content and also slide into my DMs, because we're going to actually bring back Focus on Female for real. And I am, as I was last time, super open to ideas on different people to bring on or different types of content to approach. I can tell you I already have in the works some more focus on training through pregnancy and some breakthroughs in the research that have been happening there, and also broaching the idea of women who are training as menopause comes up and what to do and how to approach that whole kind of like season of life, if you will.
Yeah. That no one talks about. Yeah.
That no one talks about. And I know that a lot of this happened the last time we did this. A lot of listeners had questions about like, do I need to pull back? Like, how do I adjust my training for my body when my body is going through this shift?
Yeah.
And like some people were like, talk about how to properly scale when I'm doing that. But some people were like, talk about how I shouldn't have to scale when I'm going through that. And so I'm, bringing on like actual medical experts to talk about that kind of thing, because I also would like to know. And I'd like to know from people who are like experienced in that field. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely, and we'd love to share all of your content as well on our channels, because yeah, we want everyone to read articles, hear information, and like you're doing a great job as far as like helping progress like the conversation, especially focusing on focusing on females. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Perfect.
Yeah, but I'm super appreciative that you have like taken the time to kind of carve out that space within what you're already doing. Like, it's amazing. You guys have people that are listening that will really benefit from it. So yeah, I'm stoked to be able to help pump that out as well through our channels.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
so
it.
glad that you had me on. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Lindsay unfortunately couldn't come, but I'm sure she's super appreciative as well. But yeah, loved this.
Love it. So, for everyone listening, send any feedback you have our way, and we will continue to develop these Focus on Female episodes. And we will catch you guys next time.